that was probably the first promotion that Chris like really settled in. So, and did you also go down there, see the lay of the land, see him wrestling and all that?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember when he first went there, like my family's very like, go to college, do the right thing, get your diploma, all that stuff. And he went there under the guise of going to the University of Tennessee. And well, my parents knew he was wrestling too. But I remember us going down there, and so we went to Dollywood, which is like Dolly Parton's like a country singer, and they have like an amusement park with like roller coasters and shit. And we went to Dollywood, and then we went to the show that night. And I remember it was just so different than here. Like we got tickets, and we're walking into the show, and we see these two like younger ladies, and we're like, oh, do you know where seats 2A and 2B are, whatever? They're like, yeah, you're right by us, honey. And we sat by them. As soon as the show starts, they're like, dirty white boy, you piece of shit, you got bigger titties than your mama. They like started losing their mind and throwing shit, and we're like, whoa. They took it to a different level down there, the fans. Like they were intense.
Yeah.
So, but I think that whole Smoky Mountain, that whole group of guys like that came up together, all are really, really good. Because like it was more like a slower paced kind of psychology based wrestling, as opposed to like like high spots and shit. It was more like read the crowd, go off what they're feeling kind of deal.
Yeah, well, Chris, I mean, he did quite a lot of the high spot sort of thing as well. I mean, did he have to learn to sort of tone that down for the crowd because they didn't get it?
Yeah, he did. Like he I forget who he was working. It was one of his first matches there, and the other guy's out of the ring. He hits the ropes, does this somersault helo over the top rope, and here's crickets, and Cornette's like, he's like, the next time, baseball slide out there, go to kick the guy, he'll move, kick the steps and sell your foot like you heard it. And he did that, kicked this and sold his foot, and then people went freaking crazy, laughing and clapping and shit. So they didn't really like appreciate they enjoyed wrestling more as they were more old fashioned, let's say.
They were true believers still.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you mentioned Cornette, and he is my absolute favorite topic to talk about in the whole wide world. In this, anyway. First time you met him, and first time you saw him lose his mind at somebody.
So I met him when I went down there briefly. I got to hang out with him because me and my brother and him went to a Kiss concert together. And I think he lost his mind at the Kiss concert on one of the vendors. I think it was over like they didn't give him cheese for his nachos or something like that. He started to dust up at the Kiss concert. But he was a cool dude. I like Cornette. I still talk to him, not like on the phone, but I email back and forth, if I have something to say or vice versa. But yeah, he's a cool dude.
Brian Lee.
Dude, he was...
he's just a complete, no one seemed to know anything about the dude. Everyone thought he was dead for years. Like, 'cause he just completely went off the map.
That's true. Yeah, he did. For a while, he was the fake Undertaker. I mean, I remember him from Smoky Mountain and from ECW. Super cool dude. The first night Chris went to ECW, right? This is a pretty crazy story. So let's say I'm 14. So that means he's 24, or I'm 15. He's 25. We're at my Aunt Kathy's house for somebody's birthday, and a limo pulls up. My mom's like, Chris's nickname in our family and our neighborhood is Cook. When I was a little kid, I couldn't say Chris, so I called him Cook. And so Cook was just his nickname, so everybody called him. So my mom's like, Johnny, Cook's here with a limousine. And I go out there. He's like, dude, I just left the WWF and going to this new federation. Come take a ride with me. I'm like, all right. So I jump in the back of the limo, and he's already got in his gear and everything. We pull up to the ECW arena, and I see all these fans like trying to look in the limo, banging on the freaking windows. And like, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, do these fans even know who he is? Like, I hope this works out, blah, blah, blah. So we get there, and he he's as soon as he gets there, he's on him versus Spike Dudley, and the crowd's absolutely electric. My brother hits him with the top rope power bomb, cuts a promo, place is going nuts, and so then he came back, to the locker room. Everybody's giving him attaboys and everything, and the match that night, the main event was Brian Lee versus Tommy Dreamer in the scaffold match, and I remember everybody like hanging around the Eagles Nest, like which is like where everybody would chill and watch the show. And everybody was like, oh, I wonder who's going to take this bump, like meaning Dreamer. And then Brian Lee took it. And even the boys were like, holy shit. And that's the first time I ever saw anything like that too. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is really cool. So yeah, that was my first ECW experience with Brian Lee versus Tommy Dreamer in that scaffold match.
Nice, very nice. I'll tell you what, I'm going to ask one more SMW question, but it's not really an SMW question. Chris Candido won the NWA heavyweight title in 1994. Was it sort of a mixed bag of emotions of, I can't believe I've got this heavyweight belt, all the greats, Jack Briscoe, Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, Harley Race and everything. But at that time, where it was diminished, not really been on TV for a few years.
Yeah. I think he was very happy, obviously, to have it. And it definitely meant a lot to him to have that on his pedigree, because he had been, like I said, he'd been watching wrestling. I can't even begin to tell you how many tapes and Betamaxes and everything he has. So I think even just as a, even if it didn't have the same oomph it had, just as like a symbol, him having that really meant a lot to him, because Ric Flair is his idol. And, so he really appreciated it, that he got to carry that. And then he dropped it to Dan Severn before he went to Smoky Mountain, I believe. But yeah, he was stoked about the NWA. He had all of us, like my family isn't big pro wrestling. They don't really like it, but they went to that one because he told them it was going to be a good one. So we all took pictures in the back with it and stuff. It was cool.
Did you see him lose it to Dan Severn? Because that's such a weird match, and he went on for like a 4-year run afterwards. He was the NWA guy for years. Yeah,
I did. I remember Dan Severn, my brother kind of taught him professional wrestling, so it was a great guy to drop it to. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So again, I was young at the time, and so, these aren't quite like me and him when we were together all the time. We were mostly goofing off. We weren't really talking about serious shit most of the time. But yeah, he was a pretty laid back dude. He never got too much about things. But yeah, he was stoked to have that belt, most definitely.